Hi there, everybody,
Hello.
and welcome back to another episode of
Making
Making Musically
Musically
Challenged,
Challenged.
brought to you still from my closet.
Yeah,
Yes.
we're on episode 10 now.
And we're going to be talking about the
The
sirens.
sirens.
The
Okay, no, I'm not gonna.
sirens.
No.
I do not have the sweet siren song.
No.
Okay, so I'm going to do a little experiment here. For those of you who know what a siren is, go ahead and leave a like or a comment saying what you think a siren is. Go ahead and pause this podcast, do it
Mhm.
real quick. Let's see how many of you got it right. And okay, we're back. Cool. Hopefully everybody liked or something.
Something. Hopefully people know what a siren is. Well, I feel like it's very common, like mythological knowledge. Is it Greek?
I think so. I think sirens are
I
Greek.
don't remember. I feel like there's those. Well, there's definitely different
Well,
ones in
there are different,
different.
yeah, because there's like sirens in Pirates of the Caribbean, and that's definitely not
They call
Greek.
them mermaids and pirates.
They do, well, okay, so there are mermaids and sirens. They are
They're,
two different things,
they are.
completely wildly different things, and we do not have mermaids in this world. We have sirens.
They're kinda like sirens. They're very similar, but at the same time, they're not. It depends on who's depicting them, what
Yes.
culture it is that you're drawing from, because
Mhm.
it's one of those things that's like, alright, they're in a lot of cultures, like dragons.
Mhm. So in our world, in Earth, in reality, sirens are mermaid-esque. They are half fish, half human women who lure sailors basically to their death
Yeah,
with a
very
har-
powerful song.
very like melodious, hypnotic song.
You
Yes.
want a good representation, either watch Pirates 4 or Sinbad.
Yes.
I prefer Sinbad, personally.
But yeah, so that is the our world version of a siren. And so we're taking that and we're not killing sailors with our sirens, but we are doing other things with our sirens. So, not only are we drawing inspiration of a siren from like the mythological siren, the way we're doing it is their zodiac, Aquarius.
Mhm.
She, in all of her vainglory, decided that she wanted to create the quote perfect race end quote. And in doing so, she created a race that's exactly like her.
Yeah,
However, she forgot that they needed to procreate to survive.
survive.
So because of that, she gave them the siren song. Now we have other races like the giants, the valkyries, and the purpuras who don't procreate in the quote natural way. They have a magical way. Like
Mhm.
last week we talked about the purpuras, we have the tree, the dwarra trees, all that fun stuff. So this is basically just Aquarius and the siren's way of procreation. And
Mhm.
what that is once a year they would come on land or to come into the shallows because they can't leave the water, but they would sprout legs and sing their siren song, and any passerby would then be called to do the to do with them.
Well, any male passerby.
Any male passerby, yes, any biological male passerby would be then called to the siren song. They would do the to do. This is the best to doing that they would ever have in their life. And it's kind of like a hazy memory afterward. All they remember is that was the best thing that they've ever experienced.
Yes, and this is where dubious consent comes in.
Yes. And now a few people get addicted to the doing with the sirens.
Mhm.
And that's where like a lot of issues really come from is because now they're spending the rest of their life searching for this to do that they're never going to get again
Mhm.
basically.
And just to clarify, they only come out once a year
Mhm.
to procreate.
Yes.
So it's not something that's, like, happening all the time.
No. It is very methodical. Metho-
What? What was that?
metho-
Methodical?
Methodical. Yes, that's the word. It's very methodical, very thought out. Again, it's like a once a year kind of a thing. It's very methodical.
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 Let's also talk about the mindset of the sirens.
Okay, so for this, I'm pulling from fairy folklore in a way with the fays.
Well,
So,
specifically from a specific book series.
well, I don't know if this is actually like lore for the fae or if it's just from this book these series, but it's the dark Fever book series by, I think it's Catherine Moaning. I think that's her name.
I know that her last name's
I
Moaning,
know her last name
and
is
that her
Moaning.
first name starts with a K.
Yes, Kay Moaning. But basically a Prince Seelie elf has
Faye.
elf fae person has this magnet doing magnitude about them, and he whenever anyone's in his presence they automatically start wanting the to do with him, and he just kind of lets it happen, and he kind of pushes that desire too, and in his mind, it's fine because this is something that humans like. This is something they enjoy doing. This is something he enjoys doing, and he can give them the best experience they're ever going to have.
Mhm.
And in his mind, it's fine. It's not considered non consensual or anything like that because that's just the Fae have a completely different moral code.
Yes.
And that's kind of the way we're writing the sirens is they have a completely different moral code because this is for their survival. They're like, well, these people like doing this anyway, so why not just give them the best time of their life?
Well, when they start singing, again, like I said, it is a magnetism. Like there's
Mhm.
something about the siren's call that draws people in,
Mhm.
especially males.
Mhm.
And to them, because they're never told no,
Mhm.
because the people are under such a hypnotic spell that they're enjoying it.
Mhm. So yeah, they've excuse me, they've never been told no. In their mindset, the people enjoy it anyway, so why not just give them the best experience
Hmm.
possible? They both get something out of it. So that is the history of the sirens before the Great Key Change.
Yes, so let's go ahead and clarify that right now. Sirens are not like this in our world or in Harmonia today.
Correct.
This was all in the past. Things
Mhm.
happened again after the Great Key Change.
Mhm. So how this kinda came about was and we're gonna go into, like, 2 different sets of history. We're gonna talk about King Thane a little bit too, because this is history that has to do with the sirens, but it's not really gonna be shown in the show.
Hmm.
So, King Thane, we've established before in other episodes, travels around the Harmonian Isles just for fun as a prince, like, before he becomes king, and he's heard of this strange goings on with the sirens. And while he's out on his journey, that time of year comes about, and he's like, okay, fine, I'm going to answer a siren's call. He does. He has some fun with it. Um, but then he gets back and he realizes that that siren was not able to procreate with him.
No.
But he gets back. The his queen lady was so desperate to see him that she brings him into the bedroom for a passionate night of doing, and um, she actually gets preggers. But the king comes to find out, like, he wasn't able to procreate with the siren, and if there's any chance at all of you being able to procreate, the siren's gonna get preggers, and so he then
Yeah.
realizes, "Okay, Queenie kinda slept around." So King Cedric is technically not King Thane's kid, but more on that later.
Yeah. You'll see the dynamic between them in the show, or at least I
Yes.
guess technically in flashbacks, because Thane is.
I don't know about flashbacks, but, like, we're gonna I mean, King Thane's dead in the show.
I mean, you know, Cedric definitely makes it well known that him and his father did not get along.
Yes, and this is the reason why, is because he's not biologically Thane's kid. Um,
Thane knows this.
Thane is aware of this, but nobody else is aware of this. He and the one siren are the only people aware that he is sterile?
More or less.
Yes. Um, so anyway, so after the first trip around and he recognizes the pull of the siren, when he goes back around for the Great Key Change and he's pulling all of these different territories into one, he kind of passes over the sirens 'cause he's like, "I don't really know if I want," like, he's like, "I don't want that in Harmonia, like, I'm not gonna consent to that," and he doesn't know how to make it safe for them, so he doesn't even invite the sirens to be a part of Harmonia, basically. It's not until 5 years later when the elves accidentally create the vampires that we really see a change.
Hmm.
Do you wanna talk about that a bit?
Yes. So when, because we did talk about, just to, if you want to find out about what happened with the whole like elf and vampire situation, go to episode 2.
2 or 3.
Oh, yeah, you're right. It is 3 because the Valkyries were 2nd. So, yeah, go to episode 3 if you want to kinda learn about the whole history of the vampires and the elves, because we
Mhm,
do talk about it there, and eventually, we will probably have a whole 'nother episode that, again, dives into the vampires because they
mhm,
are a very interesting sub-race.
yes.
Now, anyways, when it comes to, how things work with the whole siren and vampire situation. So we have talked about Varys in the past, and
Mhm,
Varys is our elven vampire candidate that is a very strong candidate in the show. You see them running their own campaign to combat roses.
mhm.
Now, Varys actually was around during Thane's time because, again, vampire very long lives when they drink blood and they keep at it.
Yes, and he was one of the first vampires ever created.
Yes, he was one
Mhm.
of the first, not the first, but
He
one of the first.
he was a part of that poly group that started it.
Yes. And when was turned into a vampire, there is definitely a power trip that comes about because vampires are a little on the kinkier side.
Yes.
Now, when he was turned, the call of the sirens happened around that time. And I also want to pause here for a second just to mention that there are kind of different sects of sirens because the waters surrounding the different territories, they're
Mhm.
different sirens per different territory. So there the sirens near the elven territory are a bit more accepted than in some of the others just because elves are polyamorous and
They're more okay with just free to doing,
exactly.
open to doing. And then each of these different sects, like, kind of have traits of who they do the do with. So, like, the elven sirens will probably have a bit more of, like, the pointy ear, whereas the orc or daemon sirens will probably have, like, some
Little horns.
horns or some sort of feature that's kinda like that. So there's the siren themselves, but depending on who they do the do the do with,
Good job.
um, that's kind of who their children will kind of look like. They're not gonna be like half orc, half siren swimming around, but they're gonna have, like, small traits here or
Yeah,
there.
because sirens only produce sirens.
Yes.
Now, Varys decided he wanted to do the to-do with the siren,
Mhm.
and
After he became a vampire.
after he became a vampire, and they had a really good time.
They
Let me
did.
put it that way.
So, typically, when you do the do with the siren, all you remember is that you had a good time, but you don't remember the actual act of the doing.
Mhm.
Um, but once you become a vampire, that haze is lifted, you're not called as strongly as you would be, like, that vampirism kind of, like, balances it out.
Mhm. They're more aware of what's going on,
Mhm, and they
and
can
they
remember the
remember.
whole night, and another thing is vampires actually don't affect the sirens.
Yes, so sirens are one of the actually, I think the
They're the only
only
race.
race that won't be turned into blood-sucking,
Vampires.
immortals.
Yes. So once Varys kind of figured this out, he and the little siren girl that he had a fun night with both recognized that they could do this for fun
They could
instead
also help
of
each other out too.
yeah, they could help each other out, they could do this for fun, it doesn't have to be so mechanical,
Mhm.
so, like, out of necessity.
And you will see Varys's siren partner because
Mhm.
she actually is very attracted to Varys.
Yes, so she would be kind of like an outlier in the siren race, whereas she wants to be with someone versus
Yes.
just being, like, alone in a
Right.
way. Um So you will be able to see that, and so because Varys wants her in his life and she wants to be in his life, they combine their wild magics, Varys with his earth magic and her with her water magic to create this, like, bracelet in a way that kind of envelops her in just, like, a really, really, really thin layer of water so that way she can keep her legs, while walking around on land.
Yes. So, yeah, basically they can be together.
Mhm.
Now
All of that to say,
yeah.
I guess, Varys recognizes that there is an issue with sirens just calling random people and random people getting
Mhm.
addicted and not being able to say no, so he then goes to King Thane.
Yes, he goes to King Thane and he's like, "Look, I have a a solution for
Mhm.
how to integrate the sirens into Harmonia to
Mhm.
where everything becomes consensual between both parties
And it's safe.
and it's safe.
Mhm. So they come up, they recognize that, okay, this bracelet that Varys made for his little girl siren friend works, and so they kind of mass produce these in a way, and they create these, like, safe areas. There's probably a couple
Hmm.
in the Elven territory,
Oh
and
yeah.
then there is a chunk of land, so if you look at the map, in between, like, pretty much in the very center of Harmonia, there is a peninsula that has no territory on it, and that's kind of where they create the safe space.
So yeah, it's accessible to all the races that they do procreate with because
Mhm.
again, they can't procreate with every race because like the Purpuras, they're non-binary, there are no males. The
The
Valkyries, and some races like live in mountain areas where they wouldn't be near the sea anyways.
Mhm, and then, like, for instance, we do have centaurs, which we will talk about later, but they are not a part of the Harmonian Isles, they're kind of separated, but
Hmm.
they have created a mage storm around their island so that the sirens cannot come up to their land. So
Yes.
that's kind of like their way of saying, "No, we don't want this." So, they then, like, 5 years after the Great Key Change, create this safe space where sirens and non-sirens alike can go and have consensual time together.
Yeah.
So that is, I guess, kind of the sirens?
Yeah, we go into a lot of interesting things with them in the show,
Mhm,
and I am excited to see how it is because we don't actually see them until season 3, so they're
mhm.
late game,
They are. I think they're the
second to
sec
last.
yeah, they're the second to last territory that we visit,
Mhm.
so yeah, we'll definitely it'll be interesting. I think they're actually one of my favorites because of their interesting history and how far they have grown in the past 50 years to
Yes.
become who they are today.
Actually, that reminds me, let's talk about their design because we have not talked about that yet.
Okay, go ahead.
So, like we've said, sirens are gonna have different traits depending on where what sect they're from, like, which territory they're near.
Mhm.
Um, and, their accessories, the buildings, I guess, would be they're underwater more than
Mhm.
anything. They're all influenced by East Indian designs. However, what I've done is I take the designs and kind of like what I did with the fairies in a previous episode, they are created out of natural elements that you find in the sea.
Mhm.
So, like their clothes are made out of coral, seagrass, shells, maybe a net here and there, things that you would associate with the sea. That's the kind of styles that they wear.
Mhm.
And then with the accessories, obviously, you've got your mirrors, you've got your bags, things like that. Well, I mean, because those are the main things that you really need to see in the or I'm sorry, in any of the territories because of like the mirrors are important because of technology.
Mhm.
And if anything, they're the ones that have waterproof technology.
Yeah.
And then of course, their territory. Well, there's so much there's a lot of territory that they have because they literally rule over the sea.
Right. So we're not really going to be seeing like any underwater
No.
territories for them. What we will be seeing is their safe spaces.
Yeah, so like the area on the map where that open peninsula is, we are going to
Mhm.
have like probably a little community there for
Mhm.
the sirens that like want to go there, but it's not like they live there permanently.
Mm-mm. It's just, if you want to go to this place, have some fun, you 100% can. That's all up to you at this point in time.
Now, keep in mind, sirens don't have to stay in this territory. It's not like this
Mm-mm.
is their one place they can go. They can go to other places because more or less, Harmonious borders are pretty much open as
Mhm.
far as all of the territories except the giants at this point,
Mhm.
because the Great Key Change allows those open borders for trade and all that stuff. So this you'll see sirens in other places. You'll probably see them especially in the capital because we do have those canals running through for them.
Mhm. But at this point, if the siren is going to be doing the do, they need to make sure that they have consent from the other party. There's not just like the yearly siren call anymore.
Yes, that is something we wanna drive home
Mhm.
very steadily, like, everything is consensual now,
Yes.
and if
And
something were to happen, it is taken care of.
yes, it's very much frowned upon. It's immediately taken care of, and the sirens are now aware that consent is a thing.
Yes.
Like because they were not aware of it, so we can't like while it's not good, we cannot
Mhm.
fully fault them because it for them in their own culture, it's not even a thing.
Yeah, and also keep in mind, it has been 45 years at least
Mhm.
since this whole change happened. So a lot of the sirens around that like aren't even from that generation. They don't know
Mm-mm.
anything but the what's been taught nowadays, which is
Mhm.
consent.
Exactly. So, pretty much all the sirens these days are 100% for consent. Now they will, like, if the party is willing, once the party comes to them and they have a willing partner,
Mhm.
like, they can still use their siren song to enhance the
Experience.
experience if the party is open to that.
Yes.
But yeah, so we just wanna be really clear when we're talking about the sirens because we don't want anyone to think that we are okaying non-consensual acts of doing.
No.
Not at all in one bit. This I know this is a bit more of a serious episode.
It is.
We just really like I love the siren culture because of the growth that they've gone through, and I think that they're really, really interesting. I just want to make sure that everyone's aware that we are 100% making sure that there is consent with the sirens and
Mhm.
that and with their willing partners, and we're showing the growth, and we're showing it's more we're showing, like, generational gaps in a
Yes.
way, like
And again, like sirens don't do this for the control or the power of it. It's
mm-mm,
again purely to make sure that they survive and have children.
mhm, right, so, but the one of the main things I think we really wanna show with this, like I said, is the generation gap because, like, for instance, we like to think of certain things that in our own world that are not okay now that were okay years ago, and to us in, like, the millennial generation, the Gen
Mhm.
Z generation, we think, "Oh, well, that was so long ago, like, there's no way it happened, like, within the past so many years," but in reality, like,
It really wasn't that long ago. Cause think about it, 50 years ago in America was a whole 'nother world.
it was.
It's almost terrifying just how close we are.
Like, certain things were perfectly okay 50 years ago that are wildly not
Atrocious.
okay today. And, so that's kind of what we're mirroring here as well, is just that generational gap and how
Mhm.
certain things that used to be okay and just everyday and commonplace are 100% not okay these days.
And this isn't the only territory we explore that. We explore it in different ways in other territories too.
Mhm.
This one's probably the most drastic,
Mhm.
if anything, but
But yeah.
yeah.
So that's the sirens.
Yeah, I'm trying to think if there's anything else that we needed to mention because we talked about their
Let me pull up my book. Forgive the noise for a second. I'm gonna be flipping through a notebook.
actually, no, we didn't talk about the name of their territory. It has a name.
Oh, it does have a name.
They all have a name.
Do you remember what it was called?
I don't, and my phone's somewhere else, but it's okay. It'll be on the TikTok.
I will Google it. Give me just a moment. Here, look through the
Google.
siren. Yeah, I'm gonna pull up the spreadsheet on Google.
Oh, right. Wait, where
Uh,
am I looking? Season 3?
season 3, yes. Flip through my notebook, look up season 3. Forgive the
So
tip
many
tapping of
notes.
the computer.
Or
Um,
should you I just read through the notes?
well, just be real quick about it. So I'm just gonna tell you guys, hi, you're all beautiful people. You guys are great. Excuse the tip tapping of my computer.
We look so prepared, don't we?
I always forget to figure out what their name is. That's always or the
Well, the
territory name.
territory names are they're all based off of song puns, sort of. Like they're all
Oh, it's
Oh,
tempura.
that's right! Oh, that's right. That's because it was supposed to be like like
Tempura shrimp.
like shrimp or shrimp. Because like okay, it's based off of tempo, and so we
Yes,
called it tempura because we're horrible people.
we're terrible people.
Forgot about that.
So the siren, like, capital is called tempura.
Look, puns are fun to an extent. All of our music puns. We have so many music puns.
We do, but this one just worked extra well.
It did, because we were going through like a list of musical terms. We're like, okay, what would work well for this territory? My favorite territory name is still Songzor, which is the orc territory, because I just think it sounds cool.
Mhm.
Songzor.
Okay, yeah, I just looked through the notebook and we're
And then
good.
there's Tempora, which is the siren. It's a shrimp tempura. Oh my gosh. We're
Yeah.
horrible.
We're terrible.
I hear
Oh,
your
Juan's
husband's
phone is
phone. Yeah,
ringing.
your husband's phone is going
I
off in
uh,
another room. It's very, very loud.
hopefully you guys don't hear it, but if you hear like magical music going on, it's my husband's phone. It's fine.
Nah, it's just the magical music that follows us around because
Da, da,
we're creating the
da, da,
show.
da, 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 da. Okay.
No.
But yeah, so sirens live in Tempora.
Oh my gosh.
They are autosexual for the most part.
Yes,
And they have a very checkered past,
they do.
but have recognized that it is a checkered past and they're moving forward.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes.
Yes. But yeah, anything else you wanted to add? Because I think
No.
that was pretty much it.
No. I will say the sirens, they're one of our races that have like greenish, blue green skin with
Mhm.
like that little fishy fins kind of parts for ears, and I also have them kind of on the arms and like the legs when they have legs, and
Mhm.
obviously they have like an actual tail when they're in their mermaid-esque form. I'm
Mhm.
going to be what do you call it, like experimenting with the different tails, because they're not all going to have the same tails like in
Mhm.
like the Little Mermaid. They're all going to actually have different kind of fins, and I'm
Mhm.
really excited to because I get to have a lot of fun with them.
Yeah. So it should be a lot of fun. If you guys have any questions, concerns, comments, feel free to put those, wherever it is that you're listening to the podcast, or you can email us at musicallychallengedshow.com at gmail.com. Yeah, at
Good job.
gmail.com. All the information's on our website, musicallychallengedshow.com.
Yes, we are very, very open to feedback. We'd
Mm-hmm.
like to hear what people think about our ideas, especially
Mm-hmm.
for the show, just because
I mean, we love talking to you guys
we
about
do.
this. Like, we've mentioned before, Mary Beth has a TikTok dedicated to this. She's known as Escape Artist on there.
Hmm.
And every day she kind of releases some sketches that have to do with the topic that we're talking about for the podcast. So, like this week would be the sirens. If you want to listen to this podcast and see the visuals, we have our YouTube page. Again, can also be found through our website. Um, Again, we are hiring. I love plugging that every single episode that I
Hmm.
can. We're hiring for full-time positions, for animator and for background artists and voice actors and composers.
Yes, and
Um,
actually, honestly, very soon we will be able to pay people for
no, that's
this.
what I'm saying is we're hiring for full-time positions
Yeah.
because we are going to be paying you
Well, okay. I
with
just want to
a
make that
competitive
clear.
salary. Yes. Yes, we will be paying you what you deserve to be paid, and it's gonna be great and fun and open. Our studio is called Ethereal Studios. We have an LLC business license. We also have a website for that, etherealstudios.com.
Go ahead and spell that out just because it's
That's
not,
what I was
yeah.
fixing to do. ATHIRIAL, Ethereal Studios. And you can reach us through there as well. But yeah, always hiring, always looking for great talent to come aboard, and we want to create such a loving, open environment for everybody that gives you guys that experience you need. So if you decide, after working on a season with us, you want to go on and attempt Disney, you'll have a year of animating under your belt. You can go and show that it is an experience with a legitimate business, and that's
Hmm.
that's what we're here for. Not only
Yes.
do we want to create like amazing, like thought-provoking, like fun shows, we also want to provide legitimate experience so that you can then go on and follow your own dream, because this is our dream. And of course, we're not going to make you work on our dream for forever and ever. We want you to go work on your own dream, but we also want to just provide that experience for you guys.
Go. Live your dream. If you can get that reference, you'll get a cookie. An imaginary cookie.
Give us a like if you get that reference, or
Uh,
or drop a comment.
I love that reference. But
Okay.
seriously, everybody should chase their dreams because we're chasing ours, and I'm excited.
Yeah. So yeah, please, again, we love talking to you guys about this. We love seeing like the comments and being able to have conversations about the show, because that's what generates, like That's just generate like it sparks
I think they
conversations
get
for
it.
our own. Yeah. Love us because we love you.
Love us because we love you. That sounds so desperate. Anyways,
Listen to my siren call.
ugh,
Love our
and
podcast.
on that note, we hope you guys have a great day.
All right. Thanks, guys, for tuning in, and we'll see you guys next week. All
Yes.
right. Goodbye.
Bye.